Wealth isn't built by chance. It's built by mindset. Most people want to be rich, but very few ever learn how the rich actually think. They believe money comes from working harder, but the truth is, it comes from thinking smarter. Thinking like a millionaire. Billionaire mindset and wealth creation is not just about making money. It's about building the kind of mindset that attracts money, opportunities, and growth into your life. This audiobook will challenge everything you've been taught about success. You'll learn how wealthy people see risk, how they make decisions, how they stay calm when pressure hits, and how they keep reinventing themselves while others give up. If you've ever wondered why some people create wealth while others only dream about it, you're about to find out. Stay with me till the end, because once you understand how millionaires and billionaires really think, you'll never see money or yourself the same way again. Chapter 1. Train your mind to think in opportunities, not limits. You know, the difference between a person who grows rich and one who stays stuck is not luck. It's not background, education, or even talent. It's how they think every single day. The wealthy person, the person who builds success from the ground up, has trained their mind to see opportunities where others only see problems. They look at the same world, but they process it differently. That's what I call thinking in opportunities, not limits. Every human being has two voices in their head. One says, "You can." The other says, "You can't." Most people spend their life listening to the second voice. They talk themselves out of their own dreams. They say, "I don't have enough money. I don't know the right people. I don't have time." What they don't realize is that these are not facts. They are habits of thinking. A millionaire mind is not built on excuses. It's built on possibilities. When something looks impossible, the person with a wealth mindset doesn't stop there. They ask, "How can I make it work?" That single question separates the achievers from the dreamers. Think about how often we limit ourselves before we even start. Someone says, "I want to start a business," and immediately they say, "But what if I fail?" Someone else says, "I want to invest," then says, "But I don't know enough." Every "but" kills the dream before it's born. When you start to train your mind to look for opportunities, you change the language you use. You stop saying, "I can't," and start asking, "What would it take for me to?" That small shift in thinking creates a whole new reality. The truth is, opportunities don't always look like opportunities. Sometimes they look like hard work. Sometimes they look like risk. Sometimes they look like failure. Most people walk away because they only see the surface. But the person who has trained their mind to think differently asks, "What could this become if I stay with it?" That's the secret. It's not about seeing what's there. It's about seeing what could be there. When I was young, I met a man who told me, "You can't afford to think poor." At first, I didn't understand what he meant. I thought he was talking about money, but he was talking about mindset. Poor thinking is when you see a closed door and walk away. Rich thinking is when you look for another way in. Poor thinking says, "That's not my job." Rich thinking says, "How can I add value?" Poor thinking looks at the price. Rich thinking looks at the potential. That's why the rich get richer, not because they're lucky, but because they notice things that others miss. You can start this shift today. Begin with awareness. Catch yourself when you think in limits. When you hear yourself say, "I can't," stop and ask, "Why not?" When you catch yourself saying, "I don't know how," change it to, "I can learn how." The mind is like a muscle. If you keep feeding it limitation, it becomes weak. If you feed it possibilities, it becomes strong. Every day you either strengthen your limits or your opportunities. It's your choice which side you're training. Many people wait for the perfect time to start. They say, "I'll begin when I have more money," or "I'll do it when things calm down." That's limited thinking. The right time never comes. The right time is when you decide to take the first step. Opportunity lives in action, not in waiting. If you move, doors open. If you sit still, everything stays the same. Successful people understand this simple truth. They don't wait for the world to change. They move and make the world respond to them. When you start training your mind to think in opportunities, you begin to notice patterns. You see that every crisis hides a lesson. Every challenge hides growth. Every rejection hides redirection. The difference is what you focus on. If you focus on the limit, you stop growing. If you focus on the opportunity, you expand. It's not magic, it's mindset. Your eyes see what your mind is trained to find. If your mind expects problems, it will find them. If your mind expects chances, it will find those too. Success begins in how you interpret your experiences. Most people think, "I tried once and failed." The wealthy thinker says, "I tried once and learned." One closes the door, the other opens it wider. This is how opportunities multiply. Every lesson becomes a stepping stone. Every obstacle becomes a teacher. Over time, your brain starts to look for the next opening instead of the next excuse. You become more confident because you're no longer afraid of setbacks. You know they're part of the process. To think like a millionaire, you must also manage what you feed your mind. The news, the gossip, the complaints, these things fill your head with limits. You can't plant seeds of growth in a mind full of noise. Spend more time with people who talk about goals, progress, and creation. Learn from those who have done what you want to do. Surround yourself with ideas that lift you. Your environment shapes your perspective. A limited circle produces limited results. Another key to this mindset is personal responsibility. Millionaire thinkers don't blame the government, the economy, or their family. They take ownership. When you take full responsibility, you gain full power. You stop waiting for others to change your situation. You realize that your decisions create your destiny. It's not what happens that matters most, it's how you respond. And how you respond is controlled by how you think. Every day, you are training your brain whether you realize it or not. Every decision is a repetition of a pattern. If you choose fear, you get better at fear. If you choose courage, you get better at courage. The same goes for opportunity. The more you practice seeing it, the more you'll find it. It's like tuning your mind to a higher frequency. You start picking up signals that others miss. That's how the wealth builders of the world operate. They don't have more luck, they have more awareness. Start small. Look around you today. Ask yourself, what am I missing because I'm focused on what's wrong? Maybe there's a skill you could turn into income. Maybe there's a connection you could grow. Maybe there's a small problem you could solve that others would pay for. Opportunities are everywhere, but they hide from those who complain. The moment you stop saying, "There's nothing I can do," and start saying, "There's always something I can do," everything changes. People often say, "I'll believe it when I see it." But the truth is, you'll see it when you believe it. Your belief opens your mind. It gives your imagination permission to work. When you believe in possibility, your energy changes. You become more alert, more curious, more alive. You stop wasting time doubting yourself and start investing time in building yourself. And that, my friend, is when opportunities start to appear in every corner of your life. Remember, this is not just about making money. It's about becoming the kind of person who creates value wherever they go. Money follows value. The more value you create, the more doors open. So, focus on growing yourself. Improve your thinking, your discipline, your awareness. Don't wait for a big break. Create small wins every day. Every time you grow, your world expands with you. In the end, the greatest opportunity you will ever have is the opportunity to change how you think. When you train your mind to think in opportunities, not limits, you stop being controlled by circumstances. You stop living in reaction and start living by design. You become someone who builds instead of waits, who acts instead of wishes, who sees the next step when others only see a wall. That's the start of a millionaire mindset, and it's available to anyone willing to change the way they think. The world won't hand you success, but it will respond to your growth. Every bit of progress you make on the inside creates results on the outside. So start now. Train your mind every day. Catch the limits and replace them with possibilities. Focus on what you can do, not what you can't. Opportunity doesn't wait for perfect timing, it waits for a prepared mind. And if you prepare yours, you'll never run out of chances to grow, achieve, and create the life you dream of. Chapter 2. Build the courage to take bold financial risks. Most people want a better life, but very few are willing to take the kind of bold financial risks that make it possible. They wait for certainty, for everything to line up perfectly, and that moment never comes. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's the ability to move forward while fear whispers in your ear. Building wealth, creating freedom, or building something meaningful always requires courage. You can't build a future playing safe every time. You build it by stepping into the unknown with faith in your ability to figure things out along the way. Taking bold financial risks doesn't mean being reckless or gambling. It means making educated, confident moves toward what you believe can grow. It's about backing yourself when no one else will. It's about saying, "I will find a way," instead of, "I hope it works." Every person who has ever achieved financial freedom has had to cross that invisible line where comfort ends and courage begins. It's that moment when you look at your situation and say, "If I keep doing what I've always done, I'll keep getting what I've always gotten." And you decide that staying the same is riskier than trying something new. The human mind naturally fears loss more than it values gain. That's why most people hold back. They save every penny but never learn how to make it grow. They dream of starting a business but never take the first step. They think about investing but talk themselves out of it. What they don't realize is that fear doesn't disappear by waiting. It only fades when you act. You become braver not by avoiding fear, but by proving to yourself that you can handle it. Each small step forward builds a layer of confidence, and over time that confidence becomes your foundation. Courage in money decisions begins with clarity. You must know what you want and why it matters. Without purpose, risk feels dangerous. With purpose, risk becomes direction. Ask yourself what kind of life you want to create and what it will take to get there. Then, face the truth. It will require choices that make you uncomfortable. You'll have to let go of the need to please everyone. You'll have to say no to the familiar. You'll have to accept that you might make mistakes. But mistakes are tuition for wisdom. They teach you things that comfort never could. Every bold move begins with information. Learn how money works. Understand where it goes, how it grows, and what makes it shrink. The more you know, the less afraid you'll be. Knowledge doesn't remove risk, but it gives you control. It allows you to take smarter risks. Read, study, talk to people who have done what you want to do. Ask questions, not for approval, but for understanding. Most people avoid learning about money because it feels complicated, but that's an illusion. Money is simple. It rewards value, discipline, and courage. You can't gain confidence from theory alone. You gain it through doing. Take small, calculated risks first. Invest in yourself, maybe a skill, a course, or a small side project. Watch how it grows your thinking, then expand. The goal is not to bet everything on one move, it's to develop a pattern of boldness. Every bold step makes the next one easier. You start to trust your own decision-making. You start realizing that you can handle more than you thought. That's how courage becomes part of your identity. Fear of judgment also stops people from acting. They worry what others will think if they fail. But the truth is, those same people won't pay your bills or build your dreams. They might talk for a while, then move on with their own lives. The only opinion that truly matters is the one you have of yourself. And that opinion grows stronger each time you choose courage over comfort. People will eventually respect you for having the guts to try, even if they doubted you in the beginning. Courage is also about emotional management. Financial risk triggers uncertainty, and uncertainty triggers anxiety. That's normal. The key is to stay grounded when emotions run high. Don't make decisions out of panic or desperation. Step back, breathe, and look at the facts. Separate fear from logic. Ask yourself, what's really at stake here? Often, the fear of loss feels bigger than it really is. Most of the time, even if things go wrong, you'll survive and learn. That's the truth. Most people forget the risk of trying is rarely as dangerous as the risk of regret. Courage is also built through perspective. Look back at your life. You've faced challenges before. You've solved problems you once thought were impossible. You've made it through every bad day so far. So why believe you can't handle what's ahead? Remind yourself of what you've already overcome. That memory is proof that you are stronger than your doubts. The same resilience that got you here will get you to the next level. Wealthy people don't have fewer fears. They just refuse to let fear drive the car. They keep it in the back seat while they steer toward their vision. There's another truth about risk most people overlook. The biggest financial risk is doing nothing. Inflation eats your savings. Opportunities pass you by. Skills become outdated. Playing safe eventually costs more than taking action. Life rewards movement. Every successful investor, entrepreneur, or builder knows this. Staying still feels safe, but it silently drains your potential. Action, even imperfect action, keeps you alive and alert. That's where growth happens. You must also understand timing. Bold financial decisions require patience. Some risks pay off quickly, others take years. Impulsive moves are not bold, they're emotional. Strategic risks, however, are based on vision and data. When you think long-term, short-term losses don't shake you as easily. You see the bigger picture. You understand that building wealth is not about winning every time, but about learning how to play the game wisely. It's about staying in the game long enough for the odds to shift in your favor. Every courageous person in history faced doubt before making a move. They didn't have guarantees. They had belief. They knew that even if things didn't work perfectly, the act of trying would stretch them. And that stretch is where greatness lives. It's where you stop being the same person you were yesterday. Courage changes who you are inside, and that inner change eventually shows up as success on the outside. When you take bold financial risks, you send a message to yourself. I trust me. That's powerful. Most people spend their whole lives waiting for someone else to give them permission. The truth is, you don't need permission. You only need belief in your own capacity to learn, adjust, and rise again. That kind of belief doesn't appear overnight. It's built through action, reflection, and consistency. It's built through saying, even if I fall, I'll get back up stronger. A bold move doesn't have to be huge. It can be saving a fixed percentage of your income when it feels hard. It can be starting a small business after work. It can be putting money into something that grows instead of something that fades. It can be asking for help or mentorship. Every act of financial courage compounds over time. It becomes a pattern that reshapes your identity. Soon you stop identifying as someone who fears risk and start seeing yourself as someone who makes things happen. Courage also creates respect for money. You stop seeing it as something to chase and start viewing it as something to grow. You understand that money responds to confidence. When you treat it with fear, it runs from you. When you treat it with wisdom and boldness, it finds its way back. That's the paradox of wealth. It flows toward those who take charge. The moment you start choosing bold action over hesitation, everything shifts. You begin to notice chances that others ignore. You start hearing ideas where others hear problems. You begin living with energy instead of anxiety. Your future expands because you've proven to yourself that you can handle the unknown. And the more you act, the more confident you become. Courage in finances isn't about being fearless. It's about being brave enough to face the fear and act anyway. It's about believing that growth is worth the discomfort. It's about betting on yourself, even when the odds seem uncertain. Because the truth is, the world only rewards those who move. The longer you wait, the more opportunities you miss. But the moment you move with intention and courage, the universe starts to cooperate. Doors open, ideas appear, connections form. So take that step. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be yours. Save when it's hard. Invest when you're uncertain. Learn when you feel lost. Every act of courage plants a seed. Over time, those seeds grow into options, freedom, and peace of mind. That's how wealth is built, not by chance, but by courage. The courage to decide, the courage to act, the courage to believe that you are capable of more. That's the mindset of someone who doesn't just think about success, they create it. Chapter 3. Understand the mindset that creates lasting wealth. Lasting wealth begins in the mind long before it shows up in your bank account. It starts with how you think about value, effort, time, and responsibility. The people who build wealth that lasts don't think like everyone else. They don't chase quick wins. They don't make decisions based on impulse. They understand that wealth is not about making money once. It's about creating a mindset that keeps it growing year after year. The right mindset turns effort into progress, and progress into abundance. The first truth about the wealth mindset is that it focuses on creation, not consumption. Most people think money is made to be spent. They get it and it's gone. But those who build lasting wealth see money as a seed. They ask, how can I use this to create more? That doesn't mean living in fear or holding on tightly. It means being intentional. It means letting money work instead of letting it sit. They understand that every dollar can either disappear or multiply depending on the choices behind it. Lasting wealth is built on patience. The average person wants results right now. They chase trends, jump on the latest schemes, and quit when it takes too long. The wealthy thinker accepts that time is a partner, not an enemy. They know that consistency beats speed. Every decision is made with the future in mind. They are willing to sacrifice short-term pleasure for long-term gain. They don't ask, what will this bring me today? They ask, what will this build for me in 5 years? That single shift in thinking changes everything. Another trait of the wealthy mindset is emotional control. Money and emotions don't mix well when they run unchecked. Fear makes people sell when they should hold. Greed makes them buy when they should wait. Impulse leads to regret. The person who builds lasting wealth learns to stay calm in chaos. They don't let panic drive decisions. They trust process over mood. They think before reacting. This calmness is power. It gives them clarity when others are clouded by emotion. People with a wealth mindset also take responsibility for everything in their financial life. They don't blame the economy, their parents, or the government. They focus on what they can control: their habits, their education, their effort. They know that blame is a trap that kills growth. Responsibility, on the other hand, is freedom. When you take ownership, you stop waiting for rescue. You start building. And when you start building, momentum grows. The wealthy mind understands the power of learning. They never assume they know it all. They stay curious. They study people, markets, history, and human behavior. They read, listen, and apply. They are not afraid to be beginners again. That humility keeps them sharp. Knowledge gives them confidence. And confidence gives them peace. When everyone else panics at uncertainty, they look for insight. They know that change creates openings for those who are ready. Another key difference is how they see failure. Most people see failure as the end. The wealthy see it as information. Every mistake becomes feedback, not shame. They ask, what is this trying to teach me? They don't run from discomfort because they understand that growth rarely feels comfortable. Setbacks are not signs of defeat. They are tests of commitment. The faster you learn to interpret failure correctly, the faster you move toward mastery. That's what keeps wealth sustainable. Wealthy thinkers also understand leverage. They realize that time, knowledge, and relationships are assets that multiply when used well. They look for ways to make effort compound. Instead of doing everything alone, they build systems, delegate tasks, and collaborate with people who add value. They don't waste energy proving they can do everything. They focus on doing the things that move the needle the most. This mindset creates expansion instead of exhaustion. The mindset that builds lasting wealth also respects discipline. Wealth is rarely built through a single lucky moment. It's the result of small, smart actions repeated over time. The wealthy don't make decisions based on feelings. They make them based on principles. They have rules for money, how to earn it, how to use it, how to grow it. They understand that consistency builds confidence, and confidence keeps chaos away. When others act on impulse, they follow their plan. There's another truth the wealthy mindset holds. Abundance comes from service. The more value you give, the more value you attract. Wealth isn't taken, it's exchanged. When you solve problems for people, the world rewards you. Those who focus on creating solutions never have to chase money. Money finds them. That's why the richest people are often those who impact lives, not those who simply chase profit. Purpose gives money direction. Without purpose, even great wealth feels empty. Gratitude also plays a bigger role than most realize. People who create lasting wealth are thankful for what they have, while still striving for more. Gratitude keeps them grounded. It protects them from greed. It reminds them that wealth is not just about numbers, it's about quality of life. It's about peace, freedom, and the ability to give back. Gratitude turns success into fulfillment, and fulfillment keeps success from turning into obsession. The wealthy mindset also thinks generationally. They don't just plan for today, they plan for tomorrow's tomorrow. They want to leave something behind that continues to grow after they're gone. They think in decades, not days. This kind of long-term thinking changes the way you act in the present. You stop chasing quick wins and start building legacy. Every decision becomes part of a bigger story, not just a single chapter. Another element of lasting wealth is adaptability. The world changes fast, and those who resist change fall behind. Wealthy thinkers embrace change as opportunity. When new technology appears, they learn. When markets shift, they adjust. They don't cling to old ways just because they worked once. They understand that flexibility keeps them alive. Stubbornness keeps others stuck. A wealth mindset welcomes evolution, because it knows that progress always favors the prepared. The wealthy mind also values self-control. They resist the urge to impress. They don't need to show off success, because they're too focused on growing it. They know that real wealth is quiet. It's built through planning, not performance. While others spend to look rich, They invest to become rich. This mindset keeps them focused on the invisible work, the daily choices no one sees but everyone eventually feels. People who create lasting wealth also build strong internal standards. They don't measure success by comparison. They define what winning means for them. They understand that envy is wasted energy. Their competition is with who they were yesterday. This independence of thought allows them to move faster. They don't need permission to believe in themselves. They don't need approval to stay consistent. Their confidence comes from discipline, not validation. Another deep truth about wealth is that it grows best in the hands of someone with emotional maturity. Money amplifies who you already are. If you're careless, more money creates chaos. If you're wise, more money creates peace. The wealthy mindset works on character before numbers. It focuses on becoming the kind of person who can handle more. It develops patience, kindness, and awareness. Because if you can't control yourself, you'll never control your results. Wealth also requires energy, not just physical energy, but mental and emotional energy. You can't build wealth while living in burnout. The wealthy know how to rest, reflect, and recharge. They protect their time like an asset, because it is one. They understand that a clear mind makes better decisions than a tired one. They don't confuse being busy with being productive. Their focus is sharp because their priorities are clear. The mindset that creates lasting wealth is not complicated. It's consistent. It values growth over comfort, purpose over pleasure, learning over laziness, and contribution over consumption. It sees money not as the goal, but as a tool to expand life, freedom, and possibility. Wealth begins with awareness. Once you change how you think, everything around you starts to align. Lasting wealth doesn't belong to those who get lucky. It belongs to those who stay steady. It belongs to the person who wakes up every day with direction, acts with discipline, learns from failure, and keeps moving forward no matter what happens. That person eventually reaches a place where money no longer controls them. They control it. And that right there is the highest form of wealth. Because it's not just about having more. It's about becoming more. The mindset that builds it is the same one that keeps it focused, patient, humble, and determined to grow in every way that matters. Chapter 4. Learn to make decisions that secure your future. Every choice you make today writes a line in your future. The quality of your life 10 years from now will depend on how wisely you decide right now. The people who build a strong financial and personal foundation are not necessarily smarter or luckier. They simply make decisions with tomorrow in mind, while most people only think about today. Learning to make decisions that secure your future is one of the most valuable skills you will ever develop, because it shapes your time, your money, and your peace of mind. Most people drift through life reacting to whatever shows up. They make choices out of emotion or impulse, not from clarity. One day they feel inspired, the next day they feel afraid. They spend when they should save, chase trends when they should learn, and jump at short-term comfort instead of building long-term security. A future-focused thinker moves differently. They pause before they act. They ask questions before committing. They don't rush decisions because they understand that every yes is also a no to something else. Future security begins with a mindset of responsibility. No one will care about your future as much as you will. Your boss won't, your friends won't, not even your family can live your choices for you. You must decide that your future is worth protecting. When you start thinking that way, your standards rise. You stop spending thoughtlessly, you stop wasting time, and you start evaluating how each action today will echo later. The person who builds wealth and freedom does not rely on luck. They rely on discipline and foresight. Decision-making becomes powerful when you begin using principles instead of emotions. Principles act as your compass. When you face a tough choice, ask yourself, does this move me closer to my long-term goals or further away? Does it align with my values? Does it build strength or drain it? These simple questions can save years of regret. Emotions fade, but principles stay steady. When you learn to decide based on what truly matters, your life gains direction. A wise decision maker understands trade-offs. You can't have everything at once. Choosing one thing means letting go of another. If you choose comfort today, you might give up progress tomorrow. If you choose discipline today, you earn freedom tomorrow. Every decision has a cost and a return. The wealthy mindset measures both before acting. They don't look for what feels good. They look for what builds good. Time is another critical part of decision-making. Every choice either saves or wastes time. Most people underestimate how valuable time is until it's gone. A future-focused person treats time like an investment account. They put it where it compounds, into learning, building, growing, and creating. They avoid spending it on empty distractions or people who drain energy. The decisions you make with your hours shape the results you get with your year. You also need to learn the difference between a reaction and a decision. A reaction is what happens when emotion takes control. A decision is when you pause, think, and act from intention. People who rush choices often spend years fixing what they broke in a moment of impulse. Learning to pause before deciding gives you power. A simple breath, a few minutes of thought, a look at the facts, these small moments separate the impulsive from the wise. Another part of building secure decisions is information. Don't guess. Learn. The more you know, the better you decide. Study money, habits, relationships, and opportunities. Learn how things actually work. Most poor decisions come from ignorance, not lack of intelligence. The person who seeks knowledge makes choices with confidence. They don't depend on luck because they understand how to evaluate risk, reward, and timing. Information is protection. It keeps you from falling for shortcuts that promise quick results but deliver pain. One habit that protects your future is delaying gratification. Many people trade long-term peace for short-term pleasure. They buy what they can't afford, follow every new trend, and end up trapped in stress. A disciplined thinker knows that pleasure feels good for a moment, but peace feels better for a lifetime. They practice patience. They save when others spend, they learn when others complain, and they wait for opportunities to mature instead of rushing them. That patience creates a life that feels steady instead of fragile. The future is built one decision at a time. What you eat today shapes your energy tomorrow. What you read today shapes your thinking tomorrow. What you spend today shapes your freedom tomorrow. Each choice is a small investment in who you are becoming. When you start thinking this way, decision-making becomes purposeful. You stop living on autopilot and start living with design. It's also important to learn how to say no. People who can't say no often end up living someone else's life. They say yes to every invitation, every distraction, every new idea, and before they know it, they have no direction left. Every no protects your time, your focus, and your energy. You can't secure your future if you keep giving your attention to things that don't build it. A strong future is built on focus, and focus grows from the courage to say no to the unnecessary. When facing a big decision, break it down. Don't get lost in fear or excitement. Write it. Look at the facts. Ask for advice from people who have results you respect. Then take responsibility for the final choice. Listening to others helps you see options, but following yourself builds confidence. Every time you make a decision and own it, your trust in yourself grows. That trust becomes your strength when the next big decision comes. Securing your future also requires thinking beyond money. Wealth without stability, health, or purpose is still poverty. Make decisions that strengthen every part of your life. Build habits that protect your body, your relationships, and your peace of mind. Don't sacrifice what's priceless for what's temporary.
The person who truly secures their future doesn't just chase success, they build balance. Another crucial part of wise decision-making is learning from your past. Look at your old choices without judgment. What worked? What didn't? What patterns do you see? Most people repeat mistakes because they never take the time to learn from them. Reflection turns experience into wisdom. It allows you to make future decisions with greater awareness. You can't change the past, but you can make it your teacher. Confidence in decision-making grows from small wins. Start by making clear choices in simple areas: what to spend, what to eat, how to use your time. Notice how each good choice creates progress. Over time, you'll trust yourself with bigger ones. The reason many people doubt themselves is because they never practice deciding. They stay stuck in hesitation, waiting for certainty that never arrives. But certainty is born from commitment, not before it. You build it by acting. You also need to think in terms of consequence. Every decision creates a ripple. Ask yourself, if I make this choice, how will it affect me 1 year from now? That question gives you distance from the noise of the moment. It helps you see the bigger picture. Wise decisions rarely feel exciting. They feel solid. They create calm instead of chaos. You'll know a good decision because it leaves you at peace, even if it's not easy. Don't let fear of making the wrong choice paralyze you. Doing nothing is still a decision, and often the worst one. Progress demands movement. You can correct your path, but you can't fix standing still. Mistakes made with thought and courage teach more than years of waiting. The person who moves learns faster than the one who avoids risk. Making decisions that secure your future also means aligning them with who you want to become. Every choice shapes identity. When you choose discipline over ease, you become disciplined. When you choose growth over comfort, you become stronger. When you choose integrity over shortcuts, you become trustworthy. Wealth, stability, and freedom follow identity. Decide like the person you want to be, not the person you used to be. A future worth having is not created by accident. It's built from thousands of decisions that protect what matters most. Every time you act with clarity, courage, and purpose, you add another layer of strength to your life. The result is not just financial security, it's emotional security. It's the calm of knowing that you are building something real, something that lasts. That's how you secure your future. Not through luck, but through wisdom, patience, and the daily discipline of making the right decisions, even when no one is watching.
Chapter 5. Learn how wealthy people make daily choices. Wealthy people live by decisions that most others overlook. Their daily choices are not random. They are deliberate, consistent, and aligned with their goals. The difference between someone struggling to get ahead and someone who seems to move forward with ease is often found in the small things done repeatedly. Wealth isn't built overnight. It's built by patterns, and those patterns come from the kind of choices you make every single day, especially when no one is watching. Wealthy people wake up with purpose. Their mornings are not rushed or wasted scrolling through distractions. They start their day with clarity because they understand that how you begin sets the tone for everything that follows. They invest time in thinking, planning, and organizing. They don't just hope the day goes well. They decide how it will go. Each morning becomes an opportunity to move closer to their goals. Most people live by chance. Wealthy people live by intention. The choices they make with their time are one of the strongest differences. Time is treated like the most valuable currency. They ask, is what I'm doing right now moving me closer to where I want to be? If the answer is no, they redirect. Every hour has a purpose. It doesn't mean they work endlessly. It means they use time wisely. They rest with purpose, learn with purpose, and even relax with purpose. They guard their schedule because they know attention is their greatest asset.
Wealthy individuals make conscious choices about their focus. They don't let gossip, negativity or noise control their energy. They decide what deserves attention and what doesn't. They understand that focus is like sunlight through a magnifying glass. It only burns when directed. Most people scatter their attention across dozens of meaningless things, then wonder why nothing grows. Wealthy thinkers choose what to ignore, and that's what gives them power. Another daily habit they practice is decision simplicity. They don't waste mental energy on trivial things. They systemize routines, so their mind is free for bigger decisions. They know that mental clutter slows progress. They don't ask themselves 50 times what to eat, where or do first. They make rules for themselves, consistent routines that eliminate confusion. This allows them to channel their energy into creative work, problem solving and strategy. Wealthy people also choose discipline over mood. They don't wait until they feel like working or learning. They do what needs to be done regardless of emotion. They understand that feelings are temporary, but results are lasting. Every time they keep a promise to themselves, their confidence grows stronger. That confidence becomes the foundation for bigger action. Meanwhile, people who rely on motivation end up starting over repeatedly because they're ruled by emotion instead of decision. When it comes to money, wealthy people don't think like spenders, they think like investors. Every dollar has a job. They ask, will this expense move me forward or hold me back? They don't buy things to impress, they buy things to improve. They understand that small choices with money compound over time. A coffee habit might seem harmless, but they know every dollar saved and redirected can multiply. Their daily money decisions are guided by awareness, not impulse. Another difference lies in how they treat learning. Wealthy people choose to learn something new every single day. They understand that the world changes fast, and those who stop learning fall behind. They read, listen and observe. They study markets, psychology and human behavior. They know that one good idea can change the direction of their life, so they treat knowledge as fuel and curiosity as discipline. Every day they feed their mind something useful. They also make conscious choices about the people they surround themselves with. They understand that proximity is power. They spend time with those who challenge them to grow, not those who keep them comfortable. They choose conversations that expand thinking, not drain it. If a relationship doesn't add value, they distance themselves respectfully. They know that the wrong company can quietly destroy ambition, and the right company can multiply it. Wealthy people decide how to handle problems differently. When challenges come, they don't complain or freeze. They analyze. They ask, what can I learn from this? What's the opportunity here? Instead of reacting emotionally, they respond strategically. This is why their problems become stepping stones instead of roadblocks. They know that frustration is a sign that growth is near, not a signal to quit. Their calmness under pressure is not natural, it's trained. They choose gratitude as part of their daily thinking. Gratitude keeps them grounded and sharp. It prevents greed and fear from taking over. Every morning they remind themselves of what they already have, and that state of mind attracts more. Gratitude creates balance. It keeps ambition healthy. Without it, success turns into stress. The wealthy mindset knows how to pursue more while appreciating what's already present. Wealthy people make conscious health choices because they understand their body is the engine behind their performance. They eat for energy, not escape. They move their body, rest properly, and maintain discipline. They know fatigue kills clarity. You can't make sharp financial or life decisions with a tired mind. So they treat physical care as an investment, not a chore. It keeps their thinking clean and their actions sharp. Decision-making for the wealthy is also about self-awareness. They know what they're good at and what they're not. They don't waste time pretending to know everything. They delegate, collaborate, and focus on their strengths. They make choices that keep them in their zone of excellence. That's why they seem so efficient. They don't try to do it all. They do what matters most. They also make reflective choices at the end of each day. Wealthy people review how they spent their time, what they accomplished, and where they could improve. Reflection gives them control over progress. They don't wait until things break to fix them. They adjust daily. Most people avoid self-evaluation because it's uncomfortable, but wealthy individuals welcome it. They know self-awareness is the secret to continuous improvement. Another daily choice wealthy people make is to focus on creating value. They constantly ask, how can I make this better for others? Their focus is not on taking, it's on contributing. They understand that the marketplace rewards value. When they create something that helps people solve problems, wealth naturally follows. They think beyond money. They think about usefulness. That mindset keeps their success sustainable and respected. Wealthy people choose to manage their emotions carefully. They don't allow anger, jealousy, or impatience to dictate behavior. Emotional discipline is one of their strongest tools. They know one careless reaction can damage relationships, opportunities, and reputation. They take time before responding. They separate feelings from facts. This maturity builds trust with others, which leads to more chances to grow. They also choose long-term satisfaction over short-term excitement. They know quick pleasures don't last, but progress does. They enjoy the process of building. They take pride in slow growth because it's real growth. Every small improvement matters to them. They measure success not by sudden wins, but by steady advancement. They understand that a tree grows quietly before it bears fruit. Another key difference is how they handle success. Wealthy people don't get comfortable after a win. They celebrate briefly, then refocus. They know success can make you lazy if you let it. They treat every achievement as a reminder to stay consistent. They don't chase constant excitement. They chase evolution. Their question is always, what's next? What can I improve now? That's why their growth never stops. They make choices that protect their mindset. They avoid drama, distractions, and anything that pulls them away from focus. They are careful about what they read, watch, and listen to. They feed their brain inspiration, not negativity. They don't waste energy debating with people who don't want to grow. Their mental space is sacred because they know it controls every other area of life. Wealthy people choose contribution. They know that giving creates expansion. When they share knowledge, mentor others, or give resources, they don't lose, they multiply. Generosity is not weakness, it's wisdom. It reminds them that wealth is meant to circulate, not be hoarded. This mindset keeps their success alive and full of purpose. The choices wealthy people make daily are not random. They are patterns of thought and discipline that compound into results. Every decision, no matter how small, is made with awareness. They choose what most people ignore. They choose patience when others rush. They choose learning when others complain. They choose vision when others settle. That's how they keep growing, not just in wealth, but in wisdom, peace, and purpose. Wealth is not luck. It's the outcome of thousands of daily choices made by someone who knows exactly where they are going and refuses to let distractions steer them away.
Chapter 6. Turn your ideas into action without waiting for perfect. Every great achievement begins as an idea, but ideas alone don't build anything. Millions of people have dreams, yet only a few turn them into something real. The reason is simple. Most people wait for perfect. They wait for the perfect timing, the perfect conditions, the perfect plan, and in that waiting, life passes them by. The people who create success are not the ones with flawless ideas. They're the ones who act while others are still thinking. They understand that progress beats perfection every time. Perfection sounds noble, but it's often just fear wearing a different name. It's fear of failure, fear of judgment, or fear of not being good enough. It tricks you into thinking you're being smart by waiting,
when really you're standing still. Nothing will ever be exactly right. The economy won't always cooperate, the market won't always align, and you won't always feel ready. Those who win learn to move even when it's uncomfortable. They don't wait to feel confident, they build confidence through action. Turning ideas into action starts with commitment. Once you make a decision, you stop debating with yourself. Too many people exhaust their energy in hesitation. They analyze so much that they never start. Successful people decide, then they work to improve as they go. They know that clarity comes from movement, not from thinking about movement. The first step, however small, creates momentum. And once momentum starts, fear begins to lose its grip. Action is not about having everything figured out, it's about beginning with what you have. If you have one step of information, take that step, then learn from it, and take another. Waiting to know everything before starting is like waiting to learn how to swim before touching water. You learn by doing. Every mistake becomes a lesson, every setback builds resilience, and every effort brings you closer to your goal. The people who act discover possibilities that planners never see. The truth is, the perfect plan doesn't exist. You could spend years preparing and still find that reality changes the moment you begin. Those who achieve something meaningful don't obsess over getting it right. They focus on getting it started. They understand that you can adjust along the way. Starting is the hardest part because it demands courage, but it's also the most freeing part because once you start, you stop living in theory. You start living in progress. Ideas are fragile when they live only in your mind. They lose strength over time if you don't act on them. You might tell yourself you'll do it someday, but someday is a lie. There is no perfect day waiting for you. There is only today. The people who build wealth, businesses, or change do it with the same 24 hours you have. They simply start before they feel ready. The longer you wait, the heavier the idea becomes, and eventually you lose belief in it. Acting early keeps belief alive. When you start acting, you realize something powerful. Perfection is not what people respond to. Authenticity is. The world doesn't reward the person who never makes a mistake. It rewards the one who learns, improves, and keeps showing up. The best entrepreneurs, creators, and leaders all started rough. Their first product wasn't perfect. Their first speech wasn't polished. Their first attempt wasn't smooth. But they began, and because they began, they had something to refine. You can't improve something that doesn't exist. Taking action without waiting for perfect also builds resilience. When you step into action, you face real challenges, and those challenges sharpen you. They teach you what books and theories never could. Each failure, each obstacle, and each adjustment prepares you for bigger opportunities. You stop fearing mistakes because you realize they're not the end, they're progress in disguise. Every successful person has a long list of imperfect beginnings that no one talks about. They just kept going until the rough edges became strength. You must also understand that hesitation has a cost. Every day you delay action, you lose time, energy, and opportunity. The person who moves learns, while the person who waits overthinks. Time doesn't reward the one who has the best plan, it rewards the one who executes. The market changes, people move on, and ideas lose relevance. Acting fast doesn't mean being careless. It means being decisive. It means you value experience more than theory. One of the biggest lies people tell themselves is, "I'll start when I'm ready." Readiness is not a condition, it's a decision. You become ready through the act of doing. The first step is always the most uncertain, but once you take it, the path reveals itself. The person who acts gains clarity that no amount of planning can give. They see what works, what doesn't, and they adjust. The world opens to those who move. Perfectionists often hide behind preparation. They collect books, attend courses, or endlessly tweak their ideas without ever launching them. They tell themselves they're being careful, but deep down they're avoiding discomfort. Action is uncomfortable because it exposes you to reality. It forces you to face feedback and to admit what you don't know, but that's where real growth happens. You can't learn to navigate the storm while standing on the shore. When you turn ideas into action, you start building something tangible, something that can grow. Even small steps matter. Make one call, write one page, record one video, make one sale. Every action plants a seed. Over time, those seeds multiply into results. People who succeed didn't do one huge thing once. They did small, consistent things daily, until they built momentum. Starting small doesn't mean thinking small. It means respecting the process. You'll notice that when you start moving, new opportunities appear. Life rewards motion. People begin to notice your effort. Resources you didn't see before become available. Doors open because movement creates energy. Those who wait for perfect miss this chain reaction entirely. The world doesn't respond to potential. It responds to action. To build the habit of acting, stop judging yourself too early. Your first version will never be your best. Allow it to be rough. Allow it to be rough. Allow it to evolve. Think of your progress as a series of drafts. Each attempt makes the next one better. The people who never start miss out on improvement because they never give themselves something to improve. Done is better than waiting for flawless. You can fix a step, but you can't fix a standstill. You also need to detach your worth from the outcome. If you measure yourself by results alone, fear will control you. Instead, value the act of showing up. Value the courage it takes to begin. Each time you act, you train your brain to see yourself as a doer, not a dreamer. That identity shift changes everything. You stop asking, "Can I?" and start saying, "How will I?" That mindset builds unstoppable momentum. The people who make things happen treat progress as a duty, not an option. They don't rely on motivation, they rely on habits. They make action part of who they are. Whether it's building a business, learning a skill, or improving health, they keep moving forward. When they fail, they don't quit, they adjust. When they doubt themselves, they remind themselves why they start. They don't chase perfect moments, because they know perfect moments never come. You can start building this mindset right now. Take one idea you've been sitting on, and do something about it today. Make a call, send a message, write a plan, test a version, anything that moves you forward. Don't wait for certainty. Build certainty through action. Each time you take a step, you gain new insight. Each piece of feedback sharpens you. Each move forward gives you a story of experience instead of regret. When you choose action over perfection, you create momentum that transforms every area of your life. You become someone who finishes things. You become the kind of person others can count on. Most importantly, you begin to trust yourself. You stop waiting for external validation because your results start speaking for you. Every day you act, you strengthen your identity as a creator, a builder, and a leader of your own life. The truth is simple but powerful. Imperfect action builds perfect lessons. Each mistake becomes a teacher. Each setback becomes proof that you're still in the game. People who never start never get that gift. Life is too short to spend waiting for all conditions to be right. The right time is now. The right plan is the one you begin. The right version of you is the one who takes action despite fear. Because success doesn't belong to those who dream. It belongs to those who move.
Chapter 7. Master emotional control. When pressure hits hardest. When life applies pressure, most people break. Not because they lack skill, but because they lack emotional control. Success in any area, money, relationships, leadership, or personal growth, depends less on what happens to you and more on how you respond to it. Mastering emotional control when pressure hits hardest is not about pretending to be calm or denying how you feel. It's about learning how to stay steady when everything inside you wants to react. It's about training your emotions to serve your goals instead of sabotage them. Pressure reveals character. It shows who's truly prepared and who only looked prepared. Anyone can stay positive when things go right. But when the deal falls apart, when money runs low, when you're misunderstood or betrayed, that's when your discipline is tested. Emotional control is what keeps you thinking clearly while others lose direction. It's the difference between a person who quits and a person who adjusts. The mind can only make wise choices when emotion is under control. The first step in mastering emotional control is awareness. You can't manage what you don't notice. Most people react before they even realize they're emotional. They let anger, fear, or frustration drive their actions, then regret it later. Awareness gives you a moment of power, the space between what happens and how you respond. In that space, you choose. The person who learns to pause before reacting becomes stronger than the one who acts from impulse. That pause changes everything. When you feel pressure, your mind and body go into survival mode. The heart races, the muscles tense, and your thinking narrows. You focus only on what's urgent, not what's important. This is when people make poor financial, emotional, or business decisions. The key is to train yourself to slow down your response. Breathe. Step back. Ask, what's really happening here? What can I control right now? That small act of grounding brings your logic back online. It shifts you from panic to power. Emotional control doesn't mean you suppress your feelings. It means you process them intelligently. When you deny emotions, they don't disappear. They grow stronger beneath the surface. The wealthy and emotionally mature learn to face what they feel without letting it take over. They use emotion as data, not direction. Anger might tell them something is unfair. Fear might remind them to prepare. Sadness might signal the need to rest. They take the message but don't let the feeling make the decision. Pressure often exposes hidden fears, the fear of loss, rejection, or failure. To master emotional control, you must confront those fears head-on. Ask yourself what you're really afraid of. Most of the time, the fear is exaggerated by imagination. The mind builds stories that make the situation feel bigger than it is. When you examine your fears with honesty, you take away their power. You realize that even if the worst happens, you have the strength to rebuild. That realization brings peace. The people who thrive under pressure understand that emotion can be managed like a muscle. The more you practice, the stronger you get. Each stressful situation is a chance to train. When something goes wrong, instead of saying, "Why me?" ask, "What can I learn here?" When someone disappoints you, instead of reacting, observe. Emotional maturity is built through repetition. The more you practice staying calm, the faster your body learns that calm is your new normal. Your emotional control is also shaped by what you feed your mind. If you fill your days with negativity, chaos, and drama, you weaken your inner balance. If you fill your mind with growth, discipline, and positive input, you strengthen it. The information you consume becomes the environment of your thought. The wealthy and emotionally strong people are careful about what enters their mental space. They protect it because they know that mental peace is a foundation for financial clarity. Pressure also exposes ego. Many people react out of pride, needing to prove a point or be right. But real strength doesn't need to shout. It stays quiet and strategic. Emotionally controlled individuals focus on results, not validation. They don't need to win every argument. They need to win the war. They understand that reacting out of ego might feel good for a moment, but it costs too much in the long run. Maturity means choosing peace over pride. In high-pressure moments, perspective becomes your lifeline. Step back and zoom out. Ask yourself if this will still matter in a year. Most things that seem huge in the moment shrink with time. Perspective turns storms into challenges instead of catastrophes.
It reminds you that setbacks are temporary, and emotions are too. Nothing lasts forever, neither success nor struggle. This mindset keeps you grounded in reality. When pressure builds, discipline is your anchor. Emotions want immediate relief. Discipline wants long-term peace. The difference between the two defines your results. Emotion says, quit, it's too hard. Discipline says, keep going, you've come too far. Emotion says, get revenge. Discipline says, move smarter. Emotion says, spend to feel better. Discipline says, save to build better. Every time you choose discipline over reaction, you strengthen control. The most successful people have mastered the art of staying calm under chaos because they prepare for it. They don't expect life to be smooth. They expect problems, setbacks, and surprises. That expectation prevents panic. They have systems for stress. They exercise, journal, meditate, or reflect daily. These habits are not luxuries. They are tools for emotional control. You can't stay calm in storms if you never train in silence. The calm mind is built before the crisis, not during it. Emotional control also requires honesty with yourself. You can't fix what you keep denying. Admit when you feel overwhelmed, anxious, or angry. That honesty creates space for change. Pretending to be fine while suppressing emotion only leads to explosion later. The goal is not to eliminate emotion, but to master it, to let it serve your growth instead of block it. When you acknowledge how you feel, you begin to understand why you feel it, and that understanding is the beginning of power. One of the hardest lessons to learn is that you can't control others, only your response. People will disappoint you. Circumstances will shift. Plans will fail. But none of those things have the final say. Your reaction determines your outcome. If you panic, you make things worse. If you stay composed, you create options. Emotional control doesn't change the problem, but it changes your power within it. It allows you to make decisions with wisdom instead of weakness. Mastering emotions under pressure also means protecting your energy. Some battles are not worth fighting. Some arguments don't deserve your words. Walking away is not weakness, it's intelligence. You must decide where your energy goes. People who lose control over every frustration drain themselves. People who stay calm conserve their power for what truly matters. The strongest person in the room is the one who doesn't react to everything. Your environment influences your emotional balance more than you think. Surround yourself with people who stay composed, who think before they speak, who don't live in chaos. Emotional control grows faster when you're around calm minds. Energy is contagious. If you stay near those who panic easily, you'll start mirroring their instability. Choose calm company. It reinforces your peace. When pressure hits hardest, your breathing becomes your anchor. Deep, controlled breathing signals to your body that you are safe. It slows your heart rate, clears your mind, and gives you back control. It's simple but powerful. Emotional mastery begins in the body. A calm body supports a calm mind. This is why great leaders and performers use breathing as a tool. They know calm is not natural, it's practiced. True mastery of emotional control gives you freedom. You stop being a prisoner of other people's actions or opinions. You stop letting small things steal your peace. You stop reacting to every negative moment. Instead, you start responding with wisdom. That's when you become unstoppable. Pressure loses its power when you stop feeding it with emotion. You start seeing challenges as part of the process, not personal attack. Over time, this control turns into confidence. You start trusting yourself. You know that no matter what happens, you'll stay centered. That trust becomes your advantage in every area of life. When others break under stress, you stay composed and keep moving. That calmness attracts opportunities, builds respect, and keeps your progress consistent. Mastering emotional control when pressure hits hardest doesn't happen overnight. It's a daily discipline, a lifelong practice. You build it by staying aware, pausing before reacting, learning from every stressful situation, and protecting your peace. When you do, you stop being ruled by emotion and start using emotion as fuel. You move from chaos to clarity, from reaction to response, from fear to focus. That's when you realize the greatest power a person can have is control over themselves.
Chapter 8. Build systems that make your money grow while you rest. Wealth is not built through endless work. It's built through smart systems that keep working when you're not. The people who achieve real financial freedom don't rely on constant effort alone. They rely on structures that multiply their effort. They understand that time is limited, but systems are unlimited. If your money only grows when you're awake and working, you'll always be trapped in the cycle of effort without expansion. The goal is not to work harder forever, but to design systems that allow your money to grow while you rest. A system is not just technology or automation. It's a repeatable process that runs without constant attention. Wealthy people build these systems intentionally. They design their finances so that every dollar has a job and continues to generate more value. They don't wait for extra income to start building systems. They start small and scale as they learn. The purpose of a system is to create independence. It allows you to step back without everything falling apart. The first step in building systems that make money grow is changing how you view money. Money is not something to chase, it's something to direct. Every dollar you earn has potential. You can spend it, save it, or grow it. Most people spend and save, but few build systems that grow. The wealthy use money like a tool, putting it into places where it can multiply: investments, businesses, or automated savings that build over time. They treat money as a worker, not a reward. Each dollar becomes an employee that never sleeps. To create systems, you need clarity. You can't automate chaos. Start by tracking where your money actually goes. Awareness is the foundation. Once you know what you earn and what you spend, you can build a structure around it. Allocate income into specific accounts for savings, investment, and daily expenses. Automate these transfers so they happen without emotion or delay. Systems protect you from your moods. When it's automatic, discipline happens by design, not willpower. One of the simplest yet most powerful systems is automatic investing. Wealthy people don't try to time the market. They build consistent habits. They invest small amounts regularly and let time do the heavy lifting. The system works while they sleep. Compounding is not magic, it's mathematics. Every reinvested return builds a stronger base for the next cycle. The longer the system runs, the faster it grows. That's how people create wealth quietly, through steady automated growth instead of emotional decision-making. Another form of system is business leverage. Many entrepreneurs build income streams that operate without their constant presence. They create teams, tools, and strategies that run the operations. They understand that delegation is not loss of control, it's gain of scale. The moment you stop doing everything yourself, your time becomes more valuable. Systems allow you to focus on vision and growth rather than routine tasks. This is how small businesses turn into sustainable enterprises. Wealth systems also involve protecting your money. Growth means nothing if it leaks through poor management. Create systems for budgeting, taxes, and risk management. Set up insurance, automate bill payments, and track your expenses with precision. Financial peace comes from order, not luck. The wealthiest individuals are not just great earners, they are excellent organizers. They build money systems that are clean, clear, and accountable. Another key part of this mindset is education. Systems evolve with knowledge. When you learn about finance, investment, and cash flow, you start to see patterns. You understand how money moves and how to position yourself within that flow. Wealthy people study how systems work because they know one good financial structure
can do more than a decade of hard labor. They invest time into learning how to make their systems smarter. You also need to think beyond money systems, build systems for habit. Your daily routine is the system that determines whether you stay consistent or drift. Schedule time for reflection, review your goals weekly, and measure progress monthly. These small systems keep you alive. The reason many people never reach financial stability is not because they lack income, but because they lack structure. They live reactively instead of intentionally. Systems turn intention into results. Automation doesn't mean detachment. It means freedom to focus on what matters. Once your financial systems run smoothly, you can spend time on creativity, health, and relationships. The purpose of wealth is not just accumulation, it's quality of life. Systems free your mind from financial stress. When you know your money is working, you can rest deeply, plan clearly, and think long-term. Peace of mind is a byproduct of well-designed systems. A powerful system is also one that multiplies itself. Wealthy people reinvest profits from one stream into another. They diversify intelligently, not emotionally. When one system produces returns, those returns fund another growth engine. It's a cycle that builds momentum over time. This is how wealth compounds across generations. It's not one lucky break. It's disciplined systems running side by side for years. Building systems that make your money grow also means letting go of control in the right way. Perfectionists struggle because they want to manage every detail. But systems thrive on consistency, not perfection. If you keep tweaking and interfering, you break the flow. The best systems are simple, reliable, and repeatable. You should be able to step away and know it will still perform. That's when freedom begins. When your financial life runs on principles instead of pressure. Every system needs review. Automation is not set and forget. Wealthy people check their systems regularly. They look at what's working, what's not, and where they can improve. Small adjustments keep the machine healthy. Ignoring your systems leads to decay. Consistent review keeps growth predictable. The goal is to create a relationship with your money that is active but not stressful. Building wealth systems also involves mindset discipline. When you automate progress, you must resist the temptation to interrupt it. For example, when your investment grows, don't rush to spend it. When your business profits rise, don't inflate your lifestyle. The wealthy understand that stability comes before expansion. They protect their foundation first. The moment your systems become predictable, you gain the power to scale safe. Technology has made building money systems easier than ever. You can automate savings, track spending, set investment alerts, or even use apps that round up purchases into investments. The key is to make technology your assistant, not your distraction. Use it to reduce friction in your financial life. The less effort required to make good decisions, the more consistent those decisions will be. Consistency builds confidence, and confidence builds growth. Wealth systems also thrive on patience. Nothing grows overnight. It's easy to get discouraged when results are slow, but systems reward persistence. The magic happens quietly in the background. You might not see results for months or years, but when they appear, they multiply. That's the power of compounding and automation. It works invisibly until it becomes unstoppable. The people who stay committed long enough always see the reward. Another overlooked system is mindset reinforcement. Create routines that strengthen your financial focus. Listen to content that expands your knowledge. Spend time with people who manage money wisely. Your environment is part of your system. It influences how you think, act, and decide. Surround yourself with order, and your thinking becomes organized. Surround yourself with chaos, and your systems collapse. Building systems that make your money grow while you rest is not about being rich. It's about being free. It's about being free. It's about designing a life where your energy creates expansion, not exhaustion. It's about making your money, your habits, and your time work together like a machine. The moment you stop trading every hour for income, you step into real freedom. That freedom gives you options to create, to travel, to spend time with family, to live with purpose. At its core, this is what wealth truly means. Not endless work, but endless potential. Systems turn potential into peace. They give structure to your dreams and predictability to your results. So start now. Automate your savings, build small investments, create consistent routine, set up habits that don't rely on motivation. Every system you build is another engine of growth. One day, your systems will be working while you sleep, turning your effort into freedom and your discipline into legacy.
Chapter 9. Focus on creating impact before chasing rewards. The people who achieve lasting success understand something most others overlook. Real wealth begins with impact, not with reward. Those who chase money for the sake of money often burn out, while those who focus on creating value for others build something that lasts. The secret to fulfillment and long-term growth is this: when you make a difference, the rewards come naturally. But when you chase rewards without creating value, they disappear just as quickly. Every great business, invention or movement started with one idea: how can I solve a problem or make life better for someone else? The people behind them didn't begin by asking, how much can I earn? They asked, what can I contribute? That mindset changes everything. When you put impact first, your thinking expands. You start noticing needs, opportunities, and possibilities that others miss. You begin to think bigger than yourself, and that shift attracts growth, relationships, and income in ways you couldn't predict. Focusing on impact requires patience and clarity. It means being willing to build before being recognized. In a world obsessed with instant gratification, this can feel slow. But the truth is, anything built to last takes time. The reason most people never create real success is that they want the reward before doing the work. They post, they promote, they demand attention, but they haven't yet created value that deserves it. The ones who rise above are those who give first. They build trust, solve problems, and make things better for others, and as a result, they earn success instead of begging for it. Impact begins with purpose. You have to know why you're doing what you're doing. When your reason is just money, you'll quit the moment things get hard. But when your reason is service, growth, or contribution, you'll push through challenges because something bigger drives you. Purpose fuels resilience. It keeps you steady when results are slow. People can feel when your actions come from authenticity rather than greed. They respond to it. They support it. They help it grow. The person who focuses on impact is not just working for themselves, they're working for others too. They think about who benefits from their effort. Whether it's a product, a message, a service, or an idea, they ask, does this make life easier, better, or more meaningful for someone? That single question shapes every decision. It turns average work into great work. It transforms ambition into influence. The most powerful thing about focusing on impact is that it builds reputation. Money can vanish, but reputation follows you everywhere. When people trust your intentions, opportunities come to you. They recommend you, invest in you, and support you. You don't have to chase rewards when your name stands for value. That's how people become magnets for success. They give so much that the world naturally gives back. Creating impact also brings deeper satisfaction. Many people reach financial success and still feel empty because their work lacks meaning. When your success improves the lives of others, it gives your own life significance. You wake up with energy because you know your effort matters. You stop counting hours and start counting results that matter. That's real wealth, the kind that enriches you from the inside out. Impact-driven people don't measure success by how much they take, but by how much they give. They understand that giving doesn't weaken them, it multiplies them.
When you make people's lives better, you build emotional capital. Emotional capital turns into financial capital, influence, and loyalty. It's the unseen currency that sustains long-term success. People remember how you made them feel more than what you sold them. When you focus on that, you create relationships that grow stronger over time. The focus on impact also builds resilience in business. When times get tough, those who only chase rewards panic. Those who build impact adapt. They have a loyal audience or customer base that believes in them because they've earned that trust through service. They don't have to start from zero every time life changes because their foundation isn't built on hype, it's built on genuine contribution. Another truth is that chasing rewards often creates pressure, while focusing on impact creates peace. When your goal is just money, every setback feels personal. When your goal is contribution, every challenge becomes part of the mission. You stop seeing problems as failures and start seeing them as chances to learn and serve better. That shift keeps you emotionally grounded. It protects you from burnout. It helps you stay motivated even when the external rewards haven't arrived yet. To focus on impact, you must train your mind to think long-term. Ask yourself, what will this choice mean 5 years from now? Will it still matter? The rewards of impact take longer, but they last longer too. A single action done with integrity and value can create ripples that last decades. The reward chasers often burn bright and fast. The impact builders grow steady and strong. They build roots, not flashes. Impact doesn't mean working without profit. It means putting purpose before profit. You still deserve to earn, but your earning becomes a reflection of the value you bring. The world rewards fairness, not greed. When you serve well, money follows naturally. The irony is that those who care less about chasing wealth often create more of it, because they build things people actually want and trust. When people feel helped, they help you back. That's how sustainable success works. Focusing on impact also strengthens your decision-making. It simplifies choices. When you're unsure about what to do, ask yourself, which option helps more people? Which option adds more real value? That question often reveals the right answer. The path of impact may take longer, but it always leads higher. It aligns your actions with integrity, and integrity builds strength that no market crash or competitor can take away. People who create lasting wealth don't compete in crowded spaces, they create new ones by solving problems differently. Impact makes you original. When your focus is helping others, your ideas become unique because they're rooted in empathy, not imitation. You start to see needs no one else has noticed. That's how innovation begins, not from chasing trends, but from caring deeply about improvement. You can start creating impact in simple ways. Add value to every conversation. Help someone without expecting anything in return. Share knowledge that could save someone else time or stress. Build something useful instead of flashy. Small acts of service compound just like money. Every time you give, you plant seeds of trust. Over time, those seeds turn into a garden of opportunity. Impact-driven people also think in terms of legacy. They ask, what will remain when I'm gone? Wealth fades, but contribution endures. The person who changes lives continues to influence others long after they're gone. That's the ultimate reward, to know your work mattered beyond your lifetime. When you build with impact, you build immortality of purpose. To create true impact, you must also lead by example. People listen more to what you do than what you say. Be the kind of person whose actions reflect values, consistency, honesty, and effort. When people see your character through your work, they trust your message. Impact is not loud, it's consistent. You don't have to announce it, people will feel it. Focusing on impact also creates abundance in how you think. You stop viewing success as a competition and start seeing it as collaboration. You realize there's enough opportunity for everyone. That mindset attracts allies instead of enemies. You build networks instead of rivalries. You move from scarcity to contribution, and that shift alone can change your entire life. When you prioritize impact, you stop needing validation. You don't chase applause or approval because your purpose gives you certainty. You know your work matters, whether the world sees it or not. That confidence allows you to stay patient when recognition is delayed. It keeps you working with calm focus instead of desperate energy. Ultimately, focusing on impact before chasing rewards builds both character and success. It makes you trustworthy, steady, and fulfilled. You begin to understand that wealth is not about accumulation. It's about amplification. You amplify the good you do, and in return, life amplifies your rewards. When you serve with intention, success follows naturally. The formula is simple but powerful. Help enough people get what they want, and you'll always have more than you need. So stop asking, how can I earn more? Start asking, how can I contribute more? Build your work, your business, your relationships, and your goals around that question. Every time you focus on impact, you build something real. Something that money can't buy, but money will always follow. Because when your purpose is strong, your rewards become inevitable.
Chapter 10. Stay humble, learn fast, and keep reinventing yourself. The higher you rise in life, the more important humility becomes. Success can make people forget what built it. It can blind them to the lessons that once shaped them. Staying humble is not about thinking less of yourself. It's about remembering that learning never ends. The moment you believe you know it all is the moment growth stops. The world keeps changing, and the people who keep winning are the ones who stay curious, adaptable, and open-minded. Humility is not weakness, it's wisdom. It keeps you teachable no matter how far you've come. Learning fast begins with staying curious. Curiosity keeps your mind young, flexible, and alert. The people who grow the most are the ones who ask the most questions. They're not afraid to say, I don't know. They listen more than they speak. They study others who are better in certain areas, instead of pretending to be the smartest in every room. That attitude allows them to absorb information faster, because they're not busy protecting their ego. Ego blocks growth. Humility invites it. Those who keep reinventing themselves never get stuck in the past. They understand that what worked yesterday may not work tomorrow. They let go of outdated methods, habits, and beliefs to stay relevant. Reinvention isn't about changing who you are. It's about upgrading how you think. It means shedding old versions of yourself that no longer serve your goals. It means being brave enough to evolve even when others want you to stay the same. The most successful people are not the ones who cling to identity. They are the ones who constantly refine it. Humility also makes learning faster, because it removes the fear of being wrong. Many people delay growth because they want to look smart. They avoid situations where they might fail, but the humble person doesn't fear mistakes. They see them as feedback. Every wrong step becomes a lesson. Every challenge becomes an opportunity to learn something new. When you live this way, you turn every experience into growth, and that growth compounds into mastery. To stay humble, you must remember where you started. Gratitude is a natural anchor for humility. No matter how much you achieve, take time to reflect on the people, experiences, and challenges that helped you get here. Gratitude reminds you that success is never built alone. It comes from a mix of your effort and the support, trust, or inspiration you've received along the way. When you stay thankful, arrogance finds no place in your heart. Learning fast also means unlearning fast. As you grow, some beliefs and strategies that once helped you may begin to hold you back. You have to be willing to question your own habits.
Ask yourself, is this still working? Is this still true for where I am now? That kind of self-honesty keeps your progress alive. Many people stay stuck, not because they lack skill, but because they keep clinging to old ways that no longer fit new goals. Reinvention requires courage to admit that the old version of you has expired. Adaptability is the key to long-term relevance. The world doesn't wait for anyone. Technology changes, markets shift, people evolve. Those who resist change eventually fall behind. But those who embrace it thrive. They stay open to new ideas, experiment with new methods, and stay calm when the environment transforms. Reinvention is not a one-time act, it's a continuous process of growth. Every season of life will demand a new version of you, and humility helps you recognize when it's time to change. The ability to learn fast depends on how well you listen. Most people listen to reply, not to understand. Humble people listen to learn. They don't interrupt. They don't assume. They stay quiet long enough to absorb insight. This is why they keep improving while others repeat the same mistakes. Listening expands your perspective, and a wider perspective means better decisions. The faster you learn, the faster you adapt. Another part of staying humble is giving credit where it's due. Acknowledging others doesn't make you smaller. It makes you stronger. It shows that you are confident enough to appreciate others' value. When you lift people up, they want to see you rise too. True leaders understand that success grows faster when it's shared. Humility builds loyalty. People naturally trust and follow someone who remains grounded even after achieving more. Learning fast also requires self-awareness. You must know your weaknesses as clearly as your strength. Self-awareness allows you to target improvement precisely. Instead of pretending to be perfect, you identify where you can grow and seek help when needed. The humble mind doesn't see asking for help as weakness. It sees it as strategy. You don't need to know everything. You just need to be willing to learn from everyone. To reinvent yourself, you must break routine. Doing the same things the same way produces the same results. Growth requires new input, new experiences, and sometimes new environment. Step into rooms where you're not the most experienced person. Take on challenges that stretch your thinking. Read books outside your usual topics. Meet people with different views. These experiences force your brain to evolve. Reinvention happens when you expose yourself to something new and allow it to change you. Humility also teaches patience. Growth takes time, and progress often hides beneath the surface. The humble person doesn't rush results. They trust the process. They know that slow learning with depth is more valuable than fast learning without understanding. They don't chase trends. They build timeless skills. Patience allows them to grow steadily without burning out. Reinvention is not just professional. It's personal. Who you are today may not be who you need to be for the next chapter of your life. Each stage demands a new mindset, new habits, and new priorities. Reinvention starts when you ask yourself, what needs to change in me for my life to improve? It could be discipline, focus, confidence, or perspective. Change those things, and everything else follows. Staying humble also helps you stay teachable through every stage of success. The higher you go, the more people will flatter you, and that can be dangerous. Compliments feel good, but they can make you forget to grow. Surround yourself with people who tell you the truth, not just what you want to hear. A humble mind welcomes feedback, even when it stings. That feedback keeps you sharp and aware. Learning fast is not about speed alone. It's about retention. You don't just want to collect information. You want to apply it. Take one lesson, implement it immediately, and see what happens. The people who learn the fastest are the ones who take action after learning. Knowledge without use is wasted potential. Humility keeps you in the mindset of a student, and students who act on what they learn become experts, faster than those who just consume. To keep reinventing yourself, Stay comfortable with discomfort. Growth often feels awkward. Learning something new exposes your ignorance, and that can bruise the ego. But discomfort is a signal of transformation. Every skill you now have was once something you didn't know. Every success story started with uncertainty. Embrace that feeling. It means you're expanding. The humble person sees discomfort as progress, not failure. Reinvention also means staying relevant. By staying observant, watch trends, listen to people, and notice where the world is heading. Don't resist new tools or new ways of thinking. Instead, ask how you can use them to grow. Many people fear change because they don't understand it. Learning fast removes that fear. When you understand something, you can use it instead of being controlled by it. Staying humble also brings peace. When you no longer need to prove your worth, you free yourself from constant comparison. You focus on growth instead of competition. You stop trying to be better than others and start trying to be better than yesterday. That quiet focus creates lasting confidence, the kind that doesn't fade when life changes. To live a life of continuous growth, you must see yourself as both a student and a teacher. Learn deeply, then share what you learn. Teaching reinforces learning and multiplies your impact. When you share knowledge freely, you remind yourself that wisdom grows only when it's used to help others. Humility allows you to give without expecting praise. It turns learning into contribution. The path to long-term success is not a straight line. It's a series of evolutions. You'll outgrow certain people, places, and versions of yourself. That's part of progress. Don't fear it. Reinvention is not losing who you are. It's becoming more of who you're meant to be. Every time you let go of pride, you make space for new strength. Every time you stay humble, you create room for wisdom. Every time you commit to learning, you ensure that your growth never ends. In the end, staying humble, learning fast, and reinventing yourself is how you stay alive in spirit. It's how you keep your edge in a changing world. The people who continue to grow are the ones who never stop being students of life. Success may change your status, but humility keeps you human. When you stay humble, your mind stays open. When you keep learning, your life keeps expanding. When you reinvent yourself, you never become outdated. That's how you keep winning. Not once, but for a life.